Instead, the tariff rate has been increased. As far as China's Trump tariff war is concerned, the hiked rate now pertains to 125%. The Asian markets have bounced back after the US President Donald Trump has announced the pause on tariff. Japan's benchmark Nikkei 225 index shot up by 8%. South Korea's Kospi index was up by more than 5%. And Australia's ASX 200 was also up by 5% during the early hours of trading. Taiwan's TAIEX index surged 9.2% to 18,982, while Thailand's stocks market rallied sharply, mirroring a broader regional upswing. All right, Mehndi Garg joins me live on the broadcast. Mehndi, as the markets are rallying, the trading stocks of Japan, South Korea and the Australian economy are giving the figures which are hinting at a possible revival as markets rejoice, and the trading, in fact, the stock markets give a good glimpse of a heavy and healthy revival after a big slump.
President Donald Trump has announced a 90-day pause on his sweeping tariffs on all countries barring China, a move that seemed, nearly impossible just 24 hours ago. And also, according to Trump, who had introduced the slew of tariffs to address the alleged trade imbalance with the US, over 75 countries had now negotiated and not retaliated against him, which led to the pause. And during the 90 days also, Simran, a significantly reduced reciprocal tariffs of just 10% would be in effect as per Donald Trump. And for China, however, Trump has announced an immediate increase in tariffs on China to 125%, up from the previously declared 104%. And for days, fellow Republicans and business executives had been insisting the U.S. president to stop the tariffs given the fears of a major trade war, triggering also a global market meltdown and, raising concerns over a looming global recession. However, he have, stayed put, saying my policies will never change. And not only this, it had become clear that the campaign to convince Trump to go back on the tariffs would not change as they had come into effect. And also, a growing alarm inside the Treasury Department over the developments in the bond market was the only factor that made Trump hit a pause on his, reciprocal tariff regime. And according to the report, also, Simran, U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent has raised their concerns to Trump, while White House economic officials have briefed him on the accelerating sell-off in the U.S. Treasury market as well. And as Trump addressed reports after the announcement of the pause on tariffs, it indicated, Simran, that the decision was more of an impulse-driven one rather than a mapped-out strategy. So yes, we can say that Wall Street stocks have also rocketed higher on Wednesday following Trump's shock move to pause many new tariffs, and lifting an equity market beaten down by days of losses amid rising recession worries. And within moments of the announcement, Simran, also the Dow index surged ahead around 2,500 points along the way to a nearly 8% gain on the session, while the tech-rich NewsX gained 12.2% to notch its best in 24 years. And also the S&P 500 surged 6.0% higher to around 5,281.44 points. Yes, Simran.
All right, Mehndi, thank you very much for sharing more details.